Hi everyone, my name is Rafael from EnergizeMeFitness. I'm an exercise physiologist and also an expert at improving bone density with exercise. Today I wanted to show you 3 exercises that anyone can perform at home to start improving their bone health. But before we get into that, I wanted to mention my Bone Density Booster program, which is available on the EnergizeMe.fitness website. I'll include details of the program in the description and how you can access the program. But basically it's an exercise program which is specifically designed to stimulate bone growth. It takes into account all of the latest medical research into bone density improvement, and it's a program that's adaptable for anyone. Okay? It's a complete step-by-step guide that takes you through each of the stages required to improve your bone density. But enough said on that topic. As I said, details are in the description. And I think it's important for me to say that the advice I'm giving here today is general in nature. I don't know anything about you specifically, so I can't really give definitive advice. Okay, but I can give you general recommendations which then need to be adapted to basically your level of fitness, your previous training experience, and any medical conditions you might have. I'll include in the description of the video obviously the details of the EnergizeMe.fitness website, where you can contact me directly and organise a Zoom meeting, or if you happen to be in my geographical area, you can also contact me through the clinic and pop in for a face-to-face visit. Before we get into the 3 best exercises to get you started building bone strength, it's important to understand why exercise can improve your bone density, and that is through the bone remodelling process. Now, without getting bogged down into too many details of bone biology, the fundamental way this works is that when you apply a force to your bones through exercise or through resistance training or doing something strenuous, that sends a signal into the cells in your bones, specific cells in your bones, which tells them to lay down bone hardening materials. So basically it deposits calcium into various cavities in your bones. Okay, and then as a result your bones become stronger. Now it typically does this along the lines of the force being applied to your bones. So that's why in the Bone Density Booster program, and also in today's video, we're going to incorporate some different movements which create or stimulate bone hardening in different parts of the bones and in different areas, so that you're getting a nice broad spectrum of bone hardening along different areas of your body. The flip side of this bone remodeling process is also that if you don't apply force to your bones, then they start to weaken over time. Basically, the old adage, if you don't use it, you lose it, is very true in terms of bone density. Something else to keep in mind about the bone remodeling process is that it doesn't happen overnight. It actually takes about a good 6 to 9 months typically to start to see improvements in bone density. So you need to do the exercise today to get the benefits down the track. Now, getting down to the main topic of this video is that the 3 best exercises to do to help improve your bone density. Now, the reason I've shortlisted these 3 exercises is because they can be performed by just about anyone. In particular, this first exercise, we use it in rehab clinic, or it's used in rehab clinics all around the world, and it's used right through to elite athletes who are, Olympic level athletes, let's say. Now, the rehab clinic is going to do a much easier version, obviously, than an Olympic athlete is going to do, and there's a whole spectrum of variations along the way which you can use to start at a very safe level at the beginning, at a basic level, and then gradually make the exercise harder, continually adapting and strengthening your bones along the way until you're at a more advanced level. Now, the second reason that I'm recommending these 3 particular exercises is that they can all achieve the necessary force through the bones to stimulate bone hardening. Now again, depending on where you're at with your own fitness level, your own medical conditions, your own training experience, you might need to start at that very first beginner variation, and then gradually progress to the harder variations, adding load, adding complexity, until you're at the more advanced levels. But all along that journey, you're going to be laying the foundation of bone and strength to be able to progress through different variations, and more importantly, to improve your bone density. Now, the first exercise that I wanted to discuss was the squat. Okay, the squat is one of our fundamental movement patterns. It's something our body is just designed to do. As I mentioned earlier, it can be adapted for beginners and right through to advanced levels. Now, given that you're watching this video on improving your bone density with exercise, I can make a few assumptions that, firstly, that you may have very little training experience, secondly, that you probably have low bone density already, and given that's the case, you're probably in your 40s or above, let's say middle-aged at least. That's typically when people find out that they have bone weakness, and you may have other medical conditions as well. So let's start at the beginning with this really basic version of the squat, which basically is what we call a sit to stand, and you can see it demonstrated here. With the squat exercise, we want to perform 3 sets of 10 repetitions at least 3 times a week. And we would continue this for about 8 to 12 weeks to allow your body to adapt in terms of muscle strength, and also slowly adapting in terms of bone hardening as well, for you to progress on to the next variation. So you would start with a sit to stand, which is basically a squat, an unsupported squat, let's say, and then gradually add some load. So the next thing you might do is add between 10 and 15% load onto the exercise. So for a 60 kilo person, that might be somewhere between 6 and 9 kilos that they want to add. Usually holding them in dumbbells is the easiest way to start, but you can also maybe wear a backpack and put some weight in that backpack. Once you've performed that exercise with additional load for another 8 to 12 weeks, then you would progress it by, let's say, another 5% from there. And you would continue building that 5% every 8 to 12 weeks until you're getting to the stage of lifting between 40 and 50% of your own body weight. Once you're at that stage, you're at a pretty good level, and you're certainly going to be strong enough to start incorporating some more advanced exercises again. But let's talk about that in another video. The second exercise I would recommend is called a lateral step up. This exercise is important because it changes where the force is being applied to the bones. And as I said earlier, we need to apply force to different parts of the bones in different ways so that we cover all our angles, and particularly this exercise addresses weakness in the femoral neck, which is a part of the bone which is commonly fractured when people have a fall and they bump their hip. Another reason that this particular exercise is important is that it starts to really ramp up the ground reaction forces that are applied to your bones. So they're the forces that I was talking about that help stimulate that bone hardening process, or the bone remodeling process. So we're going to start out with a 15 centimetre box and then gradually progress onto a 30 centimetre box and then progress from there. But let's start with this 15 centimetre box to begin with. And like with the squat exercise, we want to perform this exercise for about 8 to 12 weeks. Okay, and again, allow your body time to adapt in terms of muscle strength and also in terms of bone strength. Once you've given yourself that 8 to 12 weeks, then you're going to progress on to the larger box, the 30 centimetre box, again, which is another step up in terms of ground reaction forces and the forces being applied to your bones. Okay, we do that for our 8 to 12 weeks, And then maybe we start to add additional load, so something like 10 to 15% body weight in terms of, in addition to doing the actual lateral step up exercise. Okay, and then you continue to progress that every 8 to 12 weeks with that extra 5% body weight. Like the squat exercise, you want to gradually be able to carry, 40 to 50% of your body weight while doing a lateral step up. And by that time, you can definitely say you're in a pretty good place. The third exercise that I'm going to recommend today is called the prone back extension. It's a simple exercise, but it's particularly effective at improving bone density around the spine. And it has proven long-term benefits in terms of reducing vertebral fractures, which are common fractures that occur with osteoporosis and osteopenia. Now, the recommendations around the prone back extension are a little different to the other two exercises that we talked about, in that we would only perform one set of these exercises once a day, 5 days a week. One set of 10 repetitions, that is. And again, you would perform this exercise for 8 to 12 weeks, progress it gradually, maybe adding another 5% of your body weight. So for that 60 kilo person, they might be adding 3 kilos onto their shoulders. Do that for the next 8 to 12 weeks, and then gradually add maybe another 5% body weight on top of that, so 10%. And again, you're going to gradually progress up until you're able to do the exercise comfortably for one set of 10, 5 days a week, with up to 25% of your body weight on your shoulders. So there you have it. 3 exercises that you can start with today to start improving your bone density. The squat, the lateral step up, and the prone back extension. If you like this video, it really helps us if you can hit the like button. It lets the YouTube algorithm know that these sorts of videos are important, and that hopefully it'll send it out to more people. And don't forget that I've got more of these videos coming out. They're currently in pre-production, so if you want to find out about them as soon as they're released, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to check the descriptions in the video. I'll have contact details, or have the video, the Bone Density Booster program details in there, and also if you want to contact me through either my clinic or the EnergizeMeFitness website, you can do that. Feel free to add comments as well, because I'm happy to answer questions or interact with people through the comments. And I guess that's all from me. Now it's all up to you.